Did you talk about colored concrete on driveways?
Well, yes, I showed a bad example because the client went, didn't take the advice of pavers, and they paved the entire driveway in colored concrete.
Mm-hmm.
I know that colored concrete can be more expensive sometimes depending on the patterns that's used, but I've not recommended it myself. Do you use colored concrete a lot?
I have specified it and I've been so disappointed. And then I've come in just to do the plants after the hardscape was done. And I've been so shocked at how quickly it fades. And then I walk my dog around the neighborhood and I see some stuff that's been there for 8-10 years and it looks beautiful. And I'm scratching my head trying to figure out what it is that's been done differently to hold that color.
If you mind me answering that question?
I would love you to answer it.
So what a lot of times happens is a lot of ways to install it. A lot of people, what they do, they'll bring in on the truckload, they'll bring in, pure gray concrete, and then they'll throw a powder form where it changes the color. Compare, see, like, those driveways you walk in and you see really nice for years. If you order the color already mixed in from the company, when you call in and the truck arrives and it's in color, let's say a red, orange, whatever color they decide to go for, if it's naturally batched from the company, you get more of a lifespan on it compared to if you just on site, you're spreading that color in, you're releasing that powder in there or that chemical form in there. So that's why you drive by or you walk by and you see a driveway that's stamped and with a tan color, yellow color, and it looks so nice after 10 years because they used color directly from the company.
So like Davis color or something, what is the brand
Davis
that's used?
Well, mostly everybody in the area uses Davis color.
They will send you a sample pack for free too if you call them. But I've just seen, like, I had the one that came in second because I wouldn't have picked this, but they used the darkest color, the onyx. Literally within 8 weeks, it was medium gray.
Wow. Oh, really?
And it was integral because you couldn't possibly spread that color on top evenly. And it was done by a company that only does paving and concrete. So it's not like it was a landscape contractor that went cheap. They really knew what they were doing. And that stuff faded unbelievably. And there was no point in paying the premium for it.
A lot of times you shouldn't really reference yourself off of the colors because, like you said, after it dries off, it does tend to fade down. What I tell customers, because we're also a concrete company, we tend to tell customers and use the higher colors. Like if you're saying a high brown, you look at the lowest one and that's what it'll shade in.
Oh, that's a good trick.
There's some type of salt that's used in the concrete. And that's why, and then when there's heavy heat, especially if you're installing it in the summertime, you always tend to lose your color. So what we tell customers, look at the highest color, and then the one next to it or 2 shades down, picture that one as your driveway or backyard, whatever they're going to use.
So when you say highest color, does it mean darkest color and not go with that?
Yeah, look at your darkest color, look in the picture again, 2 shades down, and that's what it'll end up looking like. But all these high premium colors, because they have 3, they have their basics, they have one that has 1 pound, 2 pounds, there's 4 pounders, and there's 6 pounders. So all those 6 pounders, they lose their color, especially the browns. They always tend to lose their color a lot.
Yeah, I know on one Hillsborough job I'm using, they like dark grays. And I think it's onyx, the color that they specified. It's kind of...
Yeah, that's the darkest one.
Yeah,
I can give you an address of one that was poured 2 years ago and they can drive by and I don't think they'll pick it.
Oh, okay. I should tell them because they like that ultra modern dark gray look.
Then they need pavers.
Yeah.
Or a lot of people, they also use the pewter color. Pewter is really popular.
Yeah, very popular.
Pewter is kind of like a medium, kind of like a beige. It's almost like a beige.
No, it's like a medium gray. At the end of the day, after a year of it cures, it doesn't give you that. You know how sometimes concrete looks white? It doesn't give you that white. It just keeps it at a gray level.
Okay.
Do you prefer it over cobblestone? Because cobblestone looks so good with bluestone.
Cobblestone, it drops in color and it ends up looking like pewter. We did a job
because it's browner. It's warmer.
Yeah. We did a job where the homeowner was asking, he was concerned that we were cheating him and using a lighter color, and we had to show him the tag, and it turned into pewter at the end of the day.
Yeah, I bet it's because it loses the brown, like you said.
Yeah, browns tend to lose their color a lot, even if you seal it, especially in these heavy heat.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're going medium gray, you go for pewter.
Yeah, basically. I don't,
Okay.
because medium gray costs more. I know pewter has 1.5 pounds, and medium gray is like 2.3 pounds.
Yeah.
So that's why we
And,
always just stick to pewter.
and I've seen that one model. Even when it was mixed in the truck, it modeled when it came out, which was, it looked, like it had been rained on. Do you know what causes that?
The
Leaching or
concrete
something, right? Sometimes
yeah,
it leaches. Like it has these white spots.
Well, it's
I've
not
seen that.
efflorescence. It's not that. It's that the color is uneven. It's almost like when they finished it, they ran water over the top, which I think you're not supposed to do with a color, right?
Oh, okay.
Um,
Like
and it looks like they did that, even though they swear they didn't do that. And I know
what
they
kind
wouldn't have because,
was it a broom finish?
yeah, soft broom.
Yeah, a lot of times what the mistake a lot of finishers do, they'll run the broom twice. You're supposed to run it one and that's it. A lot of these guys go over it twice, and that's what kind of fades out the color a little.
Okay, that's a good tip.
Yeah, so when you're finishing, you have to fit. If you're starting from one point to point two, you just have to go. If you mess up, you just have to keep going. You can't go back and sweep it a little.
Okay.
Because a lot of these guys, they're like, "Oh, I missed a spot," and they'll back push it, and then they'll come back at it, and that's when you kind of see the color look a little more white in the grays or in the browns. You get that white kind of spot a lot.
So that's not a fluorescence? Like I thought it was line coming out of the concrete.
It is, but you're also exposing it. It's only the technique of how you finish it. What I've learned from other experienced guys, I've done it for years, is in order for you to not get that, you have to just broom yourself through. Don't stop. Just keep going and don't push back. Just got to keep going straight at it.
And what do you tell clients about sealing a colored concrete driveway?
We tend to push for sealing, especially when there's color involved in it, because when you seal, it holds in the color. It holds in the color more. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't like it looking super polished, super shiny. So what we throw for is enhancer. There's a color called enhancer. Keeps the color still rich in its color, and it just gives it a bit of a gloss, and it's not slippery. There's a brand that's called BP.
Mm-hmm.
And we always use their brand, and they have the regular one, the enhancer, and then they have the gloss. We always keep it in the middle. We always use the enhancer, and it gives it really nice finished looks.
How long do you let it cure before that goes on?
We let it cure for 27 days till we get the actual color out of it. So it takes about 3 weeks or so to cure, depending on the weather too. Depending if you're doing it right now in the middle of the spring where it's nice and hot, 3 weeks. If you're doing it in the wintertime, we typically ask them to wait till the summertime, so all the sub base is also dried up and everything. So it's always best to do it in the spring and summertime. Like if you're pouring in the middle of November, December, and we have fog, we have rains coming in, I always ask them to wait to the springtime, and then we go back, pressure wash, and then we seal it for them.
How far apart do you allow your joints? I've had guys say 7 feet, 10 feet.
I do 5 feet control joints, 5 feet on center, and expansion joints, 10 feet. I had a bad experience with a large commercial job where the main part, they did expansion joints at like 15 feet on center, and it had cracks in between. So
did that get truck traffic?
Yeah, it did.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of it was the owner was being cheap. They didn't want to pay the contractor to add the dowel joints, like the
big guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So they didn't want to add that. So
well, it doesn't look great either.
Yeah, it kind of breaks it up, but then nobody wants to see cracks like 3 months after it's installed.
Sure. So you do an expansion joint every 5 feet, and then
No. Control joints.
And then, and then the big one every 15 feet.
Yeah, every 10 to 15 feet. I've read different things. Some places it says 20 feet, some places it says 10 feet.
And so I'm like, what is the answer? What is the real answer?
It's like, you just have to go by whichever gives you a little bit more control of, how it's going to look.
Right.
All right. Well, that was very nice. I think, I hope all of you got something out of it. And Armando, thanks so much for putting together and bringing it all together, even though you're busy now that construction has resumed.